I recently got given a STM32 Nucleo board from university for my embedded systems module. I had never heard of STM32 before that, so I decided to do some research, and here it is. Let's get started by answering the basic question, I suppose. What is STM32? So it's a group of 32-bit microcontrollers which are designed by ST Microelectronics. I've never heard of them before either, but apparently they're a very big company worth around $28 billion. So yeah, fairly big. So since I just recently started learning about STM32, I've personally found it very useful to compare the STM32 range to the Arduino range, because that's kind of like what I've learned first and foremost. So if you're familiar with Arduinos, you understand pretty much everything in this video. If not, leave a comment below. If you get stuck on anything, let me know and I'll try and explain it. Just bear in mind that I'm a second year EE student and I'm not an embedded systems engineer, so yeah. I suppose let's just quickly start with the company itself, ST Microelectronics. They developed a bunch of different microcontrollers and also a bunch of different development boards. So you've got the actual microcontroller itself, and then you've got the development board. So before we touch on them, let's look at the microcontroller itself. So this is what the microcontroller looks like. You've obviously seen one of these before, and this is what it looks like attached to an actual board. So each one of these very small microcontrollers have a processing unit, static RAM, flash memory, and a debugging interface, as well as a bunch of peripherals as well. There's quite a lot going on these chips. Now, when it comes to these microcontrollers being 32-bit, that can be a little bit complex to understand if you haven't really looked into computer architecture or anything like that. So all of us know the Arduino Uno, right? So that uses a microcontroller called the ATmega 328P. That microcontroller on the Arduino is an 8-bit microcontroller, and all of these STM32 microcontrollers are 32-bit microcontrollers. But what's the difference and how does that relate to performance? Have a look at this chart. You know, obviously, generally speaking, when you're talking about speed and performance, the higher the number, the better, right? So in this instance, 8-bit microcontroller versus a 32-bit microcontroller. Take a look at the chip's clock frequency of the STM32 versus the Atmega, the amount of general purpose input and output pins, the analog to digital converters resolution, the flash memory, and the static RAM. You can see that the performance of the STM32 chip is far beyond the Arduino chip, and these two are, price comparable as well. So they don't just differ in bit size. If you know anything about ARM architecture works on 32 bits. Since the Arduinos use the 8-bit chips, there's no way that they're on ARM architecture, right? The Arduinos actually use like their own Harvard architecture, which has a lot of limitations in performance. So for these STM chips, they're all based on the RISC ARM architecture. If you don't really know what that means, don't worry about it. But ARM stands for Advanced RISC Machine, and it's one of the most popular architectures that are used in, things like cameras, phones, iPads, embedded system devices, all of that kind of stuff. So they're very well known for their low power consumption versus like better performance abilities. So the reason why this matters is because the ARM architecture produces single operations at a time. This means that it can work a lot faster and have really quick response times. And a really significant part of using ARM architecture is the fact that they use a lot less power than things like the Harvard architecture. Where you may have heard of ARM architecture is in the fact that recently in 2020, Apple switched their Macs chips over to ARM, and that was a big thing in the news. And they were actually quoted as saying that these new chips provided the highest performance with the lowest power consumption. So yeah, basically these chips on a RISC ARM architecture, brilliant. Another thing you may come across is the Cortex processor. So some of you may have heard of Cortex. It sounds a bit fancy. It's a family of microcontrollers that are specifically optimized to be super cheap and super energy efficient. They're actually part of the ARM family. So the Cortex processors come in different sizes. They're denoted by the letter that comes after the word Cortex. So you've got Cortex A, Cortex R, and Cortex M. We're only all interested in the Cortex M series. The Cortex M series is actually the microcontroller profile, and it just has to do with the size of the actual chip. So these kind of processors are optimized for real-time embedded processing, so they're perfect for what we're trying to do. If you see numbers after the M, as in Cortex M3, that just refers to performance. It's on a scale from like 1 to 8. The higher the number, the better. But you don't really need to know any more than that. So the STM32 microcontrollers, they're based on the Cortex M3 core. Other than that, don't worry about it. Okay, so let's get to the juicy stuff now. So each version of the microcontrollers varies slightly in terms of flash memory, RAM size, clock frequency, pin numbers, chip packet size, etc. So the first type of STM chip is the very popular F series. This is what is called like the mainstream chips. They're a set of very scalable chips which are used for a large variety of applications, and they're currently what I'm learning how to use. So they're categorized into different categories starting from F0, F1, F2, F3, F4, and F7. Don't ask me why they jump from F4 to F7. I got no clue. So you'll see on the package that they'll have, for example, STM32 F0, STM32 F1, STM32 F2, STM32 F3, STM32 F4, and STM32 F7. So yeah, that's how they kind of categorize all of those ones. So other than the mainstream microcontrollers that they have, then they also have two other types. The first being the ultra low power microcontrollers. So this is the second type, called the L series, which stands for low power. They're categorized as L0, L1, and L4. You'll see on the package that they'll have, for example, STM32 L0, STM32 L1, and STM32 L4. Again, I don't know why they jumped from L1 to L4, but yeah. So the last type that they have is the high performance microcontrollers. So these microcontrollers are actually the most recently introduced, and they're part of obviously the H series, H standing for high performance, and they're officially described as having a high degree of integration and rich connectivity. So they currently only have one subcategory, which is the H7s. So you'll see, for example, STM32 H7. The difference between all of these chips is meaningful, especially for commercial work, or if you're, advanced and you've got specific projects in mind. But for us hobbyists and students, any one of the chips from the F series, you'll be fine. Okay, so moving away from the microcontroller models and actually to the development boards, which obviously the microcontrollers are placed on, ST Microelectronics has developed two main types of boards that we can use. There are some other ones as well, but we'll stick to these two. So you've got like the more expensive and very powerful discovery kits, and just by looking at them, you can see that they mean business with their green color. And then you've got the cheap and cheerful, great for students and hobbyists Nucleo boards, which look way more appealing, as you can see, being nice and white and blue, and looks a lot more friendly than looking at the green kit, right? So let's just quickly touch on the discovery kit. Like I said, they're usually green in color and are designed for specific applications. So they come with a lot of additional stuff like displays, modules, special connectors like Ethernet plugs, microphones, loads of different random stuff. And there's lots of different types of these, and you would get the one that would be specific to what you're trying to do. So these boards usually are upwards of 30 quid, but I've seen some for 100 as well. So the second type, which is the type that I use, is the Nucleo board. So like I said, these are similar to Arduinos in the sense that they're trying to make everything as easy as possible for the end user. So there's three types of Nucleo boards, and their naming is based on the amount of physical pins that they have on the board. So remember that all STM32 chips are 32 bits, right? So the naming of these boards is not based on the amount of bits that they use, rather it's based on the amount of pins that are on the physical board. So we have three types. We've got the Nucleo 32, Nucleo 64, and Nucleo 144. So that just means that the Nucleo 32 boards have 32 pins, the Nucleo 64 boards have 64 pins, and the Nucleo 144 boards have 144 pins. All of these boards are super cheap. You usually can find them for 15, 30 pounds easily. And that's it, to be honest. If you've understood everything that I've just said there, you're good to go with STM32 boards. Grab a board, start programming, jump on the embed, get going. If you haven't got any experience with the Arduino, I would suggest learning the Arduino. Even if you just did, grab an Uno board and just do a couple of programs, get some experience there. Then when you come over to STM32, it will be a bit easier. So as for which board I recommend, I have the STM32 F401RE. So you can go with that one. That's the one that I use. I've got two of them. You can get that anywhere online for 15 quid. And yeah, that's about it really. Thanks for watching, guys. Drop a like and leave a comment if you have anything to add. I'm all ears. I'm learning too. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.